Disclaimer: everything that is discussed, posted is strictly for educational and historical purposes only. It does not promote nor condone illegal activities. Champion WANDERLEI SILVA axe murderer for XW. WANDERLEI SILVA axe murder comes from the breeding of Chainman's Conan, Garner's Tudor Imp, a tightly bred Chinaman dog, bred to Ch. Kendra. Champ Kendra, a Frisco X yellow bitch on top side and the bottom side a hard-biting Frisco bitch CM's Klein Zeno, bred top to bottom Garner's Frisco. WANDERLEI SILVA started at a young age and showed great composure. He had an average bite, high ability and has earned his 1XW title status at the age of 21 months, ending the career of his first opponent. He is considered to be an all-rounder with a good finishing. Following is an illusory report of his sensational career as a combat dog. There was a hype going on in the mother city about this show, with Troy having more baits before the show than WANDERLEI. Others even joked that they will bring all the money from their bank account and how Troy will brutalize Wander. 1XW Troy was a buckskin dog, a grandson of IMP Poor Sangre to Gritler blood. He was said to be the master of the muzzle, like his littermate brother Yakuza, who won a 2XW beast by sitting on the muzzle. WANDERLEI SILVA vs 1XW Troy. The night came where Troy would meet WANDERLEI at a neutral venue. As we took in WANDERLEI in for weighing, the very moment he saw the pit he started to go ballistic and restless, screaming to be released. We finally got him on the scale. Upon release, both dogs meet in the middle, with WANDERLEI immediately going for the head and Troy pushing in the chest and shoulders area. Troy got in the left shoulder for a few seconds initially, and it was like WANDERLEI saying to him, "You're not going to get in there again." And so, the contest went on, with WANDERLEI on solid, unbreakable defense on the head and ear, riding out the determined Troy while waiting for his opportunity to counter on the stifle, which didn't take long. At 5 minutes he had Troy on the floor, rinsing his stifle out like it was up for grabs. After about 8 minutes it looks like WANDERLEI has figured out Troy, slowly comes down from the deep stifle hold to the side of Troy's muzzle. He then shoots in hard into Troy's throat and kept him down while working him over. Troy gets up very angry and goes on the muzzle, which made his corner go wild, screaming, "That's the Troy we know," and baits started to fly for that moment as he makes WANDERLEI push while defending on the muzzle. It wasn't long till WANDERLEI took him off with a devastating shoulder hold that made Troy go down, and now Wander would grab his ear, turn and throw him on his back and work the shoulder, stifle and gut. Those intense body slams are slowly taking its toll on Troy's vitals. At 20 minutes Wander is way ahead and Troy starts protesting but continues to look for good holds while Wander dances with quick feet keeping him out. It's now 30 minutes and Troy has not done any real damage on Wander, getting only a few shots on the shoulders. A turn is called on Troy and ref grants it, as Wander continues to punish Troy, biting his reproductive organs, making his corner quiet. The only words that came out of his corner was "he will scratch all night," yet Wander, with systematic changes between ear, shoulder and throat holds, he demonstrates his powers. At 40 minutes Wander is now mopping the floor with Troy, who has now excreted blood and dung, which fills the air with a foul stench, and he is just lying there as the owner refused to pick up. Wander not only senses but also smells the imminence of the end and starts to push with great ferocity into the throat, closing it shut like an apex predator in the wild and suffocating him by his nose, so that Troy started to scream, and as the handle came, he wanted to bite his own handler, but he forcefully gets to the corner and, like a dizzy drunk dog, didn't seem to remember where he was and got counted out at 10th count, making WANDERLEI SILVA axe murder 1XW at 59 minute, as a few more minutes Troy would have died in the pit. Special thanks to Team MFit and 27. We decided to bring WANDERLEI out again for number 2, into a 1XW again. So we called out a winner that goes by the name BJ, but his weight wasn't 20.5 kilograms. He had changed division to 19.5 kilograms. Then we called out Josh, a 1XW, but there was no response from the owners. Even though we offered to meet halfway, this show was never going to take place. We finally got a response from Chain Gang Kennels, who also had a 1XW, who was known for eating the muzzle off like it was his favorite meal. Cyrus was his name, and a great-grandson of IMP teacher top and bottom side. He apparently was from the litter of destruction, as there was only winners from his litter and a loser. This litter was supposedly to be the gameness litter, but that was about to change, as we believe only the box will tell the truth. Like any wise man would say, action speaks louder than words. WANDERLEI SILVA vs 1xW Cyrus. The night finally came where the two were to meet. We got to the ring and Wander knew what was about to happen, getting restless looking through the car window to see where his victim was as I tried to keep him calm. Mr. Ref took the agreed fees from both sides with Cyrus to weigh first. I remained in the car with my partner and my friend taking care of Cyrus's weighing, then finally the moment the crowd was waiting for. I could say 20 heads came to see this. As Wander enters with a white towel covering his head, all one could hear was the crowd going crazy, some shouting he is a boxer, and few baits were made by those who believe in the axe murder WANDERLEI SILVA. So we proceed and washed. I knew what was about to happen. Wander started screaming as he was being washed as he wanted to be in the box. The two one-time winners hit hard in the middle and immediately began to swap hold for hold, shaking and fighting hard in an all-out war. The fight was pretty much even for the first 3 minutes as both dogs tried to outpower the other with WANDERLEI driving into Cyrus. The two dogs were fighting hard and furious. Then WANDERLEI started displaying like the famous words of Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Taking ear, chest, throat and shoulder holds, making Cyrus look a bit stupid as he couldn't catch the speedy Gonzalez, whose legs were on nitro after feeling how Cyrus bit on his muzzle. At 10 minutes, WANDERLEI off to the limit, wanting to finish Cyrus quick by driving into his throat, but like a die-hard Cyrus refused to lay still. He came back up with vengeance, taking WANDERLEI by his ear, shaking him off his feet like a rag. He did this for 2 minutes, making his team go wild. "That's it, my boy," the owner said to him, praising him so that he mustn't take bottom again, but like a devil's advocate. WANDERLEI took him off by his stifle hold, biting Cyrus off his feet, showing him what he was all about. Wander begins to show that he is a real head terrorist. He sticks like a glue on Cyrus's head, being a smart dog of excellent wrestling ability, fast, strong, wind as submarine, punishing the living hell out of him, wiping the floor with him. If it was a stage show, you could have said it was all his stage alone, as Cyrus protested what pitmen calls a remix, screaming in pain looking for the muzzle, which kept failing until 35, where one could think after the throat jabbing and stifle holds, one would be sure that his soul was busy leaving the body at that moment, but as game as he was said to be, he managed to hold on for dear life on the muzzle of WANDERLEI and did some big damage on the lip, which made Wander fang out randomly, and he was forced to do what he does best, choking the living life out of Cyrus by closing his mouth and nose. We asked the handler for Scratch to continue, but he rejected it, thinking he was doing any justice for his dog. I called on the great one, the demons of all demons, Lucifer, out of Wander to finish up as he was starting to slow down after working for 1 hour. He started to break the front legs, one by one, swapping to the stifle at 1 hour 19 minutes. He then thought he finished, and thinking Cyrus was dead, a quick handle out of hold was made with Cyrus in shock and not knowing what planet he was on. I grabbed Wander, went to our corner, and like he normally does, he starts screaming to be released, and on the other corner Cyrus out of it. Both front rear broken. He failed to stand and all the gameness was bitten out of him, and to the 10th count he was out and he cur. WANDERLEI SILVA, still screaming to go for more. I released him and like a rocket straight for the throat, making a strong statement that he is now declared a 2xW and B.I.S for a valid reason. Special thanks to C-Gang and his team for the show. WANDERLEI SILVA vs Handsome Rob. Handsome Rob was a 1xW and an exceptional bulldog that has earned his spot in the dog fraternity. He was also a good producer. He was bred tutor, a heavy Earl Jr. dog, ex-Baby Rouge, made a buck bitch. Weight pull 20.5 kilograms. Ref ordered both dogs to be released, and Handsome Rob shoots across and nailed WANDERLEI SILVA deep in the chest, right in the middle of the box, and immediately WANDERLEI went into Rob's face, taking him off from the nose and then switching to the ear. Rob kept pushing in hard and trying to slam WANDERLEI into the corners, where he could do some damage, but WANDERLEI would just spin out on the ear, and once again Rob was chasing thin air. WANDERLEI was now moving on a fast pace that Rob must have thought he was surrounded. At about 10 minutes, with Wander being more athletic and showing wrestling ability, he managed to hit Rob a bleeder on the right leg, making Rob angry that he took Wander from bottom by his chest as if he was going to throw him in the air. Wander, being the typical one, he refused to take bottom by handling Rob on his head and ears, back and forth, as he felt how Rob was bringing the music to him. Whenever he could break the defense, seeing that he couldn't get more of the throat, he decided to go more on the front legs, hitting WANDERLEI a bleeder that Rob's corner cheered for at that moment, and a bet was made from Team WANDERLEI, but there was no takers. WANDERLEI knew what he was supposed to do. to stay out of trouble, but because he was now very angry as Rob made him sore. So he took him by his right stifle, working it viciously that he didn't care where Rob bit him, while trying to take him off. He worked that backhand hard for a good couple of minutes and then lost grip in the same process, which gave Rob an upper hand to hold him on his head, forcing him to push, which he only did for a few seconds. Then he went into the throat, pinning Rob from an angle, to swap the hold for an air hold. That's when the old-timer laughed and said Wander was no killer, he can't kill Rob on the ear, this is Wonderland. It wasn't long after that was said and a turn was called on Rob. He made his scratch and Wander also scratched afterwards. Feeling Rob was getting weaker, Wander started to work more and more like he just started the show. It was time to shine, and a joke was made that Rob was not going to walk out of the box alive. So I started to whistle, the whistle only Wander knows when it's time to shine. He mopped the floor as if he was a cleaner, cleaning the floors till Rob was out of it trying to gasp for air. This proved that Wander is just a fast, that Team Rob said so themselves, and pit smart. Rob possessed a fast mouth and hitting the throat hard, but the grueling pace of the fight began to tell on Rob, and Wander, looking fresher, and found his way to the throat and checkmate, where he settled like a apex predator making a kill. He didn't shake yet, he just stuck like glue, with Rob helpless, not knowing how to get out of the awkward hold. Which some foam started to come out of his mouth and his eyes rolling back into his skull like the heavens was calling on him for the next few minutes, yet bleeding heavily on his armpit. Wander put on a display of a true killer that left many seasoned dogmen shaking their heads, and one of Rob's fans lost hope, seeing that there was no way Rob was making a comeback from this kind of hold. They screamed, "Rob is busy dying," making the handler ask for Scratch to continue, and we rejected. It wasn't long and Rob managed to get up on his clumsy feet as he was still trying to figure out what planet he was in. At 1:05 Team Rob conceded and asked for a courtesy scratch. Respect to ST Man for a great show. WANDERLEI SILVA vs Stuntman's Yale. Yale was bred out of Blaze, a son of Briscoe, a hard-biting dog, over Cyrus x Toshka from the Big John stock. We all know the outcome of the crosses of Frisco and the Jeep Blood. He was a 1XW winner who won in 10 minutes. It was said to be off the chain because he didn't need a keep, as he had an extremely hard mouth and a gut specialist. He has earned a good reputation, that dogs on his weight were scared to take him on. There was talks that he would have Wanderlei for a snack or he would kill him under 10 reasons, being Wander is a natural lean dog and Yeo has killed Bucko with that signature move of the lockjaw in the gut, a pure evil dog. Seemed as the ST Man had it all figured out, he decided to come for seconds. The day came where the two finally met. The show that many have been anticipating, almost like the Joan Bone Jones vs Daniel Cormier, the match of all time. Weight 21 kilograms. Ref orders dogs to be released and I released Wanderlei, and he got Yeo in his corner as his handler wanted to release him into the stifles, but it was a missed call. With Wander landing on the head and straight into defensive mode, leaving Yeo to push and look for holds on the front, where he had some nice holds, and shaking the soul out of Wanderlei, mopping the floor in the first few minutes of the match. That made his corner go wild, like they were at a stadium chanting and cheering Yeo Yeo Yeo, to go into the gut faster than the Flash with lightning speed. First attempt he couldn't get into the stifle or gut, but like a crocodile he finally had his way in at 4 minutes. It was said that the show was over with that one hold. They underestimated the champ and his defensive skills. He doesn't like to get hurt like Floyd Mayweather. Too quick he was out of trouble and taking Yeo by the ear, reminding him who was in charge. This goes on for about 10 minutes with both dogs going pound for pound. When given a chance, Yeo wanting more and more of the stifles like it was Wi-Fi hotspot. One would say he was Chinaman himself. Yeo tried his best to go in the gut and stifles. Wanderlei with the height advantage and reach advantage, he started to offend Yeo by teaching Yeo how to bite stifles like a proper vindictive, doing damages and making holes like a 50 cal sniper rifle on the stifles. The second protested, "How can you beat a dog like this? He is a champion for a reason, he is a clever dog," which gave mixed emotions to the handler, as all the attempts Yeo tried, only to come empty-handed and had bleeders on the stifles that Wanderlei deposited before departing to full defense mode, leaving Yeo to start chasing the legs again, tiring up, running out of fuel, and making the champ take every advantage of the tired Yeo and biting his front rear shoulders. As soon as Yeo lays down, he would work his way to the throat. Then again Yo-Yo's corner would protest you. Hatch dollar at dog, get up, you can't lay into Wanderlei. You are going to die tonight. This show was supposed to be finished under 10 minutes. I asked the handler what was happening, as now the show is longer than 20 minutes already. We laughed it off. While the two warriors continued to rumble, with Wanderlei in full control, now doing as he pleases with Yo, who is now hopeless out of holds, and whenever he tried to make a comeback, he would only do it for a few seconds, then out of hold again, and leaving Wanderlei the axe-murderer Silva to spring clean the floor with him. On the throat, face, shoulders, head, all around Yeo, until a turn was called on Yeo as he seemed lost in the illusions of a master at work. Yeo took the 10 count, making Wanderlei Silva a well-deserved for-time winner, thanks to the chosen few Crew Africa, Bounty and Hammer. Well, there you have it folks, the story of Bounty's champion Wanderlei Silva for XWBIS.